Hello everyone, how you doing? You're very welcome to this week's Hurling What's the Score with myself, Aidan Raftery, and of course, as always, we have former Limerick senior hurler Andrew O'Shaughnessy to take us through all things hurling. Hello Andrew, how are you? Are you well?
And good Aidan yourself.
Not too bad, no, not too bad. Yeah, I suppose really the county finals are happening, taking fast, and I suppose we'll go on to Cork as well in a minute. Obviously, the Clare county final has been decided, but I think the most interesting ones would be the tip hurling final. After a replay, Killadangan came out on top. But I suppose in this one, even though Killadangan won one of the last year or the year before, I suppose Thurles Sarsfield might have been the favourites. Although from the first match, it was fairly even Stephen, and it was a very close game. It was very hard to decipher who was the better team on the day, and I suppose maybe a draw was a fair result.
Yeah, so it was again. Any time there are certain counties, clubs and counties that they're the strong teams in county. And Thurles or that in Tipperary, they're standard bearers for the winning the tip championship. So they have all the pedigree, always have the pedigree. So no matter if they have a good team and bad team, they're always going to be thereabouts in the county championship. And if you get to final, they're going to be favourites. So again, Killadangan, like they have the recent history. So they won the county thing in 2016 last time, but they have a lot of underage, they've good form, they've good structure. Darry Egan set up a good structure in the club with the underage, and that's the bearing the fruits of it now. So again, like that's the way to win a county championship. The final last minute goal to go win by a point. They always say dangerous lead, 2 points in hurling is dangerous lead, and that's certainly the case. And Kildare will be delighted with their victory. Like they hurl superb. The fella I tipped to hurl well again to tip the scale for Thurles Stars was Aidan McCormick, and he scored 5 points from play from centre forward. Like so, he did all he could for the likes of Thurles Stars. But again, like when you have when you don't have people involved with the county team, it gives a great bond with a club team. They can work solely. They have no county players away, so the people that have a trainer, the people for the year, they can work with those. And I see afterwards, captain talking about they went out to prove a point that they should have someone involved with Tipperary, and that's certainly the case. Like county champions not having someone involved with the county team, that certainly won't be the case in 2024. Kildangan will have a lot of players in the panel that should have two or three based on that, and it's good for the likes of Kildangan to win it as well, because you don't want the same team kind of winning. I know Thurles Stars have won a good few, but it's nice to see variation in county champions because it's good for the actual county team as well. And I say that jokingly as well. I don't want to be good for Tipperary County, but it's good just for have a different team winners, a different style of hurling, and they can bring that confidence into the county setup, and it could augur well for Tipperary County in the championship and Munster championship next year.
That's it. I suppose looking at the county final as well, looking at Thurles Sarsfields. I mean, when you think of Thurles Sarsfields, you think of Ronan Mara, captain for the club and or for the county and all that, and for the club indeed as well. So you think of a good defensive structure, usually a good midfield, Thurles Sarsfields, and of course. Good up front. But what was your take on, I suppose, over the two games in the county final? What was your take on Thurles Sarsfields? We'll touch on Killadangan again and then in a minute.
Yeah, so Thurles Stars, they have hurlers from 1 to 15, if not 1 to 20 even. They're all very, very good hurlers. And at times in club championship, you can try to play like a county team. I get that, play through the lines and all that, but sometimes you just need to give the ball long, more direct, because it's club hurling and the mistakes will happen more so in club hurling than county hurling. And if you try to play the county style as a club team, you can either, if all goes well, you will dominate, absolutely dominate. But if it breaks down, that's what I thought happened to us. Like they did the most hurling in both matches. They're more content with the ball in their hands, working through the lines, but it broke down that once or twice too many. They shouldn't have. It should broke down when it shouldn't really be having the opportunity to break down. I thought they maybe overcomplicated it a few times, trying to get the perfect score as opposed to getting a score, and maybe that's was the downside for them.
And I suppose really, given the players that they have, like I was saying there, obviously Roland Maher, good midfield and good up front. With the players they have, it's kind of, is it good to actually play the long ball in and to take scores from long distance out and to play the long ball in, or play it through the channels like you said? Or maybe I think maybe it's throughout a game it's kind of depending on the situation. Maybe as the game goes on, there might be times where it's best to let in a long ball, and then it might be good to maybe play the ball through the chance. So maybe kind of a combination would be the best way. But I suppose it's all got to do with the quality with the opposition you're playing. And Kildangle, as we were saying, and when you see the fact that it took a replay for them to win it, it goes to show you the quality of the team that Kildangle have.
Yeah, sure. It's again what way you play. So all you play however the opposition sets up. You try to impose your game on them, but you have to be conscious about the way they're setting up. So if they have a +1 standing back, you can't be hitting the ball long because he's going to sweep up all that ball. If you're hitting it long, it has to be long enough to get past him, and it has to be to the corners because invariably you're going to play a 2-man full forward line. So you have to play the ball to the side of them so they can get it literally uncontested with their man. If you're hitting a long ball and it's just not long enough, it's going to drop down the centre back and he's going to clean it up all day, and then you start panicking, hitting balls constantly. Instead, the whole idea, you work the ball through the lines to draw out their defence. So if you're working the ball successfully through the lines and popping balls over from 50, 60 yards, that'll have to force the half back line to come out. And invariably that just leaves the +1 back on his own in front of the full back line, and you can identify him easier. So when you look up, you see him easier and it's easier to avoid. But when you're half back line and sitting back, it's kind of disguising the fact when you look up from your own corner back line, your own half back line playing up, you see the half back line, you try to avoid them. You don't see the +1 behind him. But if you pull out that half back line, it's easier to identify their +1 and to avoid him. So that's what they did. But again, we kill that Dangan, so they have been the form team along with Hurler the last couple of years in Tipperary, although not winning it, I think, since 2016. They were beating the county final last year by Kilran and McDonald's. So they have the form, they have the consistency, getting to the latter stages of the Tip County Championship. So it's good that they got over the line again. I think they might focus on giving a good run in Munster now, because it's due. They're due a good run in Munster. They've a good team. They've a hurling. They've a nice style, and they have the physicality for this time of year, and that'll be a massive benefit when you head into the wet pitches over the next few weeks.
And I suppose really, obviously it's tough for them when you get into. I'm not saying that the Tipperary Championship isn't tough, but it's a different type of toughness when you get out of your county and play in the Munster Championship. You're coming up against the Ballygunners and other teams as well. But I suppose really, another way of doing it as well is kind of, from the back. Do you play it if you're playing the long ball? Do you play it into space, or if you know that there's players up front that are very good under the high ball, that that all day long they're going to pluck the ball out of the air, kind of, which is, well, I suppose it depends on the quality of the defence and how quick the backs are too, as to whether you play it into space or whether you land the ball in on top of the forwards.
Yeah, so it's you mightn't think, oh, this too much, but so outside the person that's shooting for the score, every other time the ball is struck is a pass, should be a pass no matter what. If you're under pressure, you should a short hand pass, a long pass. It should be, whether it's going 5 yards, 10 yards, or 55 yards, it should always be passed to the advantage of your own player. That's where teams break up. So you get a cornerback, he'll burst out, or halfback burst out, get an inspirational roar from the crowd, he'll do catch out of the sky, and he'll drive as far as he can. A big roar, but then it's a 50-50 ball under the side. All the defender has to do is spoil that and get the secondary ball. You need to pass every ball. So whether you're going to hit a high ball in, if you're a man who's good there, you still can't hit him high ball in, 1-on-1 50-50 ball. It has to be out to his side or entice him onto the ball to cut across his man. So it has to be a calculated pass, long ball. So you can't just hit a high ball and expect him to win it. It has to be a targeted ball. So again, everything comes down to your teammate, what he does with the ball. You can strike it all you want. You can be the best striker in the world, but if you're not striking for a pass, invariably it's going to break down and the ball's going to be swallowed up and come straight back at you, and you'll be under pressure.
And of course, I suppose really, I know we didn't talk last week, between the first game and the game at the weekend with regards to the Tip County final. But with Kildangle, we know the quality that they have. Where do you feel was the winning of the game for Kildangle?
Right, so when you get to the county final stage and definitely the Munster Championship stage, all these teams are superbly fit. They all can hurl. They all have a system. It just comes down to something not to do with skill or fitness. It's down to your mentality and whether you want to win or not. Obviously, they all want to win, but the really togetherness. I see that with this Kildangle team, the real community team. They're one, they're a real group. Even their intermediate teams and the junior teams. I think they field 4 adult teams. Not many club teams can field still 4 adult teams. If not 4, they have 3 adult teams, and they're all really trying. So that's a real community spirit that you can't make. You can't say, right, we're great community, with great spirit. There's nothing about that. That's just ingrained in them, what they grew up, what they're exposed to. And Darragh Egan has a massive part to play in that, and you should be complimenting him for the work he put into the under-race structure. That takes time. That takes 15, 20 years time, repetitiveness, building that up. And once you have to build up that resolve, it's hard to knock. So I think that's where, while you'd probably say Thurles Stars are a better stickman, but it's not by much to be better stickman than Kildangan. But the resolve and the togetherness of Kildangan definitely, I feel, was the deciding factor in this.
And of course, going forward, like going into with the Munster Championship now in mind for Kildangan, you know, the 2 tough games against Thurles Sarsfields, you'd imagine that would stand by, will stand to them as well, because you know, it's going to be tough, especially like when they come across the likes of Ballygunner and all these teams as well. Clare champions as well. There's some tough opposition there in the other coming out of the other counties in Munster as well, including Limerick.
Yeah, so if you're looking at it now, you're looking at if you're asking me, I'd be saying Ballygunner are the favourites, and the Pearse should be the second favourites, and they all going well, they'll be meeting in the semi-final stage. So you have, I think, the tip champions are on the opposite side of the Clare champions. So that's the way it's. Or I'm not too sure actually. It could be tipping, Cork and Clare actually. So, but definitely Ballygunner will be meeting the Pearse in the semi-final. That's without question. So that will be the final, I think. So, because last year the Pearse had a superb match against them in the first half, but they wilted in the second half. So this year you'll see, did they learn their lessons? Can they produce the same type of quality of hurling they did in the first half for a longer period of time, for maybe 45 minutes, 50 minutes? That should get them over the line.
That's it. Now that game that you're after outlining them there between the Pearse and you know, and Ballygunner, that's a mouth-watering clash as well. But also that's the other game there that you were saying, you know, between the Cork champions. Who came out of Cork again? Sorry,
SARS,
and you know, that'll be an interesting clash as well. Yeah.
So if it does materialise with Ballygunner and the Pearse, that will be a fantastic match. Ballygunner have to get over the first round first, to say, like, it's very. We're kind of predicting Ballygunner will, in all probability, they will get out. But in you see, like in Kilkenny, when you think the obvious is going to happen, it's not necessarily the case. So it's all well good saying you're a favourite, but you have to go out and prove why you're a favourite. Whether you win by 10 points or whether you win by a hard fought 1 point, you still have to prove you're favourites. And that, like every match from here on in, it's bonus territory for the clubs, but still you can win those matches, but equally you can lose those. And yeah, the only people who will be really targeting Munster and Northern Ireland will be Ballygunner. So anything less than an All-Ireland victory for them is going to be seen as failure, whereas everyone else is kind of in bonus territory now. They won the county championship and they're going to try to ride their luck and just hurl to the best of their ability. So we'll wait and see.
That's it. And I suppose in the Pearse as well, you know, obviously the Limerick champions, they're a really good side with some really talented hurlers. So I suppose they'd be another team that will be in the mix in Munster, like between them and Ballygunner will be, you know, that will also make Munster very interesting as well. Having bet Patrick's Well, who are another good side with a lot of county stars in it.
Yeah, and the Pearse, in fairness to them, they have a strong panel. They have lofty ambitions. So they won the first county championship in 2010, and I think they've won 8 since. And of those 8, every time they came out of the county championship, they invariably went on and won Munster and won Northern Ireland and lost Northern Ireland. So I think they've only lost once or twice in Munster. So their pedigree is superb in Munster. So again, that's going to, if it does materialise as Ballygunner and the Pearse in the semi-final, it will be mouth-watering, that's to say the least.
That's it. And I suppose, like, we haven't spoken for the last couple of weeks, so it has been an interesting few weeks in Munster as well, just to kind of wrap up the last couple of weeks in the county championships around Munster.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And that's like we've been saying it all along. Like you can have your favourites and who's going to win here, but once it gets to the semi-finals and final stages, it really starts to heat up. And you very rarely see a walkaway county championship victory. Once you get to finals, they're going to be tight, close. If you get a 3 or 4 point win, that's a hard fought 3 or 4 point win. But invariably, they're going to be a 1-score match, and you saw that. And that's the joy of hurling this time of year when you get to the knockout stages, because you see the real creme de creme of the finals, and they represent what's best about the counties, and you saw that in all the provincial and the county finals this year.
And of course, before we go on to Leinster, then of course we have the great final that is another great final, which is the Galway county final as well.
Yeah, so again, like St. Thomas's, 6 in a row now. They're after getting there's some team for a small little parish and a small group of players and the one family and cousins. Like they're unbelievable what to do. We've been highlighting since the start of the year. I was saying Clanbridge would be a little tip of mine, but always St. Thomas's were the clear favourites. And they, as I was saying about favourites earlier on, you can go out and justify it. And they, by God, did they go out and justify it? They blew them away in the final. They were very, very dominant. So again, with my crystal ball looking to the future, I could see St. Thomas's and either Ballygunner in a Pearshie final already.
That would be surely that would surely be very interesting. And I suppose moving over now to Leinster, it's been a very interesting couple of weeks in Leinster as well. And I suppose that the story of the weekend though has to be O'Loughlin Gales beating Ballyhale Shamrocks in the Kilkenny County final.
Yeah, no one saw that coming. Bear O'Loughlin Gaze, no, a fantastic win, and that's what. Like you obviously see Ballyhale, they're a superb team. They've a history throughout their club. They've won so many Club All Ireland, numerous county champions. They're top of the list now. The match to begin was to go outright top of the county champions, but now they're still level at the top. But like that, it was a shock to everyone else looking at the result. Bar obviously O'Loughlin Gales, but that's the way you have to beat Ballyhale. Like you're not going to beat them out the gate. You're not going to get a run them and win by 5 or 6 points. If you're going to win it, it's either with a last minute goal or, as you saw, last minute Paddy Deegan point. And I think there are 2 more chances after that, I heard as well, but 1 point will do them. It was fantastic. Whether O'Loughlin Gales can go on now, in theory, they should be genuine All Ireland contenders, but after winning your first county championship in a while, I'm not too sure will that take a physical and mental toll out of them. I'm not entirely sure, but you cannot write them off. They're obviously a great team, so it'll be interesting to see how they get on the Leinster Championship.
I suppose with with O'Loughlin Gales, when you're coming up against the likes of Ballyhale Shamrocks and all the All Ireland club titles they've won, do you think that maybe mentally all their mental strength went on just winning that match? Obviously, look, you have to concentrate on each match as it comes, but as we know, they're an exceptional team, Ballyhale Shamrocks. So it would take a lot to beat them. Obviously, to be fair to O'Loughlin Gales, they obviously had their homework done on it. But you see, here's the thing as well. When you're playing in the county final or an All Ireland final or a Munster final or Leinster final or anything, it's about you have to worry about you're doing and concentrate on what you're doing, but you do have to balance that out by kind of knowing a bit more and doing your homework on the opposition as well. They seem to have struck that balance with O'Loughlin Gales.
Yeah, it's a fine line. So anytime you play Ballyhale, you have so many. You pick out you play any team, you pick out right their target man, their scores come here. I'll watch him, and we'll do this. But with Ballyhale, their scores can come from anywhere. There's so many people on it. It's actually frightening. But again, like I've seen it all year, so Ballyhale were the clear favourites for winning the county. But through all the other shows we did, we always said anyone can beat anyone in Kilkenny. That's how good that championship is. So while it was shocking to find Dixborough almost and should have nearly caught them in the semi-final, they hurled well. But the key thing with O'Loughlin's did, even though Ballyhale drew it back, O'Loughlin's got 3 or 4 points start. Hayes did get a great start. So normally when you're playing a team like Ballyhale, you say, right, get a good start, and then you get sucker punch straight away with Ballyhale going 3 or 4 points up or getting goal against a run of play. And that's just a sucker punch hard to come back from. But O'Loughlin's did the opposite. They started well, they got their 3 to 4 points ahead. Ballyhale drew it back. Ballyhale went ahead once, and then O'Loughlin came back right at the to win or to lead in the most important time when the game was over. Just at the end, they were leading right at the very end, and that was well planned. It was well thought out, and just listen to what Brian Hogan spoke about. He spoke very well afterwards, and what their setup was like, and how they planned and how they got organised for Ballyhale, and they went out, they planned it, but they certainly executed it as well.
And of course, when you look at Ballyhale as well, it's something that maybe people might have forgotten about. But I suppose the one key thing when you're playing Ballyhale Shamrocks is you have to eliminate or reduce greatly the amount of frees you give away in scoreable areas, because we all know TJ Reid and all the other players, whoever can take the frees. You give away a free, it's a point before the before the free is even taken. So I think that would have been another key thing that maybe they brought into their game, trying to reduce that, maybe practicing that and training. But like, how do you duplicate playing the Ballyhale Shamrocks in a training session? But that would be certainly one of the things they would have targeted, wouldn't it?
Yeah, certainly to cut down the frees, because any free you do give away against Ballyhale, it's invariably, it's a near, I'd say, 99% chance of that being a score, and you can't be conceding free shots at goals for relatively small frees. So at least when you're giving away a free, you have to make sure it's a strong, tough free, and the person actually earned it, as opposed to a silly little hand in the back or a push when there's no real pressure. When the probability of the person getting the ball scoring would have been quite low, but then it's almost guaranteed score just from a simple free given away. You can't do that. And the other key thing that they did against Ballyhale, they didn't score a don't have the record books with me now, but it's a long time since they played a match and didn't score a goal. So eliminating the chance of getting a goal, that's 3 points they don't have to be chasing. They can just keep tipping away with points, and that's what they did. And they kept themselves in the fight. So even when went behind, I think it was only once or twice in the match there was 2 points. There was more of a two-point lead, and keep them that close. It means that you don't have to go searching for goals, because if you go searching for goals, teams just shut up shop and they won't concede goals. They'll be happy enough to give away points. But if you don't concede goals, all you do is keep tipping over the points, and you can always stay in touch. And that's exactly what they did. Whether it was a game plan or it's just the way it materialised, it certainly worked for O'Loughlin's.
And of course, kind of like what we were saying in the Tip County final and in Munster, I suppose in this game, was it a case of that they got the mix right between playing the long ball and playing it through the channels in this game for both teams?
Yeah, so like Kilkenny hurling's kind of different to the other side of hurling. Kilkenny hurling basically very, very physical, and there's quite prevalent the ability of forwards to catch the ball over the head, which is not normally the case with other teams. They're physically strong, and they have the knack and the skill and know how to win their own primary possession. So that's more so the Kilkenny style of hurling. You see the county team was trying to, and they nearly have it adapted to the new style, kind of playing through the lines. When they do adapt to it, they'll be a scary proposition. But again, the club teams are doing it as well, and Ballyhale were the forefront of that. They were pinging balls 5 meters, 10 meters, but equally O'Loughlin negated that to a certain extent, and they could do it themselves as well. And they're quite good quite proficient at themselves. But I'd say of any club championship, there's a lot of long balls still being hit in the Kilkenny County Championship, and it proved worthy in the end. Like, if you hit long ball, you have to have the players to win a primary possession, and that's always a hallmark of Kilkenny teams, be it club or county.
That's it, and of course, we know both teams. It'll be this will be a very good O'Loughlin Gales team, and it's going to be certainly a very interesting Leinster championship. But I suppose before we go on to that, obviously, we need to cover the the Offaly and the Dublin senior hurling championships as well. A new pairing, I suppose, in the Dublin senior hurling championship, which is good. I suppose it's kind of needed. Different teams, or two different teams in that county final, and of course in Offaly as well.
Yeah, so Kilmacud in Dublin, so they won that again. So that's 2 in a row for them. They beat Ballyboden, and I said county finals are normally close affairs. This certainly wasn't, because my brother was at the match. He's involved with the club in Ballyboden. That's where he's living, and it was literally just one-way traffic, and it's sad to see in the county final, because when you get to county final, you want to win, lose or draw. You want to play as best you can and say, right, we give it all. We're just unlucky here and there, but they were totally out-hurled for the whole game, and you can take that confidence from winning a game like that into the provincial championship now. So they'll take great strength from their performance, and all they do when the coach goes back the next day, now we're going preparing for first round Leinster championship. We just need the same performance. We know we can do it. We did it last day. We need the same performance, and if they do that, they'll be a scary enough proposition for whoever meets them in Leinster.
And of course, like I said, kind of off air to you as well. Obviously the Wexford champions, they'll be, they're going to be delighted now, because they finally get some competitive action after 12, 13, maybe I'd say nearly 3 months at this stage, without competitive action. They'll be really looking forward to the Leinster championship now.
Yeah, and again, my crystal ball, I think their Leinster championship will probably end after one match, because the wait is too long, I think. So I think that there's no way I don't think they'll win their first round in Leinster. If they do, they won't go any further, to be honest. And that's not being remiss of them, their chances, because they actually have a very good quality hurling team, but it's just too long of a break. And that's a different season. That's nearly 2 seasons mixed in together. It's crazy. It's just way too long. And the Wexford County Board didn't do them any favours when they arranged those fixtures. Last week, if you're doing the podcast, you're saying Ballyhale Shamrocks are going to be Kilkenny champions, Leinster champions, and probably All Ireland champions. But now, Leinster champions, you're looking, it's a great opening for Kilcormac Killahy. It's a great opening for them. They're going to really be encouraged by the result in Kilkenny. They said, right, we have a right crack at Leinster now. And once you get out, so if you can get out of Leinster, you're nailed on nearly probably for an All Ireland championship. So for all the clubs that are out of their provincial, out of their counties now, they're eyeing up the provincial and All Ireland. So if you're saying to me, I'd be saying St. Thomas's will come out. I think Kilcormac will come out, and a toss up between Ballygunner and Impearshig. I'm going to stick with Impearshig just for them being the Limerick team.
Yeah, because I suppose really, if you're looking at the Leinster champion as a whole, and I suppose it's kind of a double-edged sword. If Ballyhale Shamrocks come out, oh, here we go. It's Ballyhale Shamrocks will probably win the Leinster, like you just said, and the All Ireland or whatever. But now that O'Loughlin Gales are through, and look, they've a great side as well. But I suppose the other team, kind of like what you said there, it means that Leinster is that bit more open than it would have been if Ballyhale Shamrocks had come out of Kilkenny.
Yeah, well, it's always open. It's always going to be 50-50 game. But the thing with Ballyhale is they're constantly there every year. They've the experience and know-how and everything. And it's just that, like, if you're playing Ballyhale, go, oh God, so that's probably a 3 or 4 point advantage for Ballyhale for even puck a ball to start the game. But now that you meet a different team, you don't have the same fear, or the aura isn't around them, so you can just go at it as a normal game, 50-50 game. So O'Loughlin Gales could and might well go on and win Leinster, but it's not a foregone conclusion as if with Ballyhale out, you're saying they're going to win Leinster. But now there's open debate of who actually has a chance, and it'd be interesting to see the odds in the bookies.
That's it. And there's games that we're going to look forward to looking towards next week, and looking back on next week as well. So listen, thanks very much for taking the time out to do Hurling What's the Score with us, and we look forward to talking to you again next week.
Thanks, Aidan. Have a good week.
No problem. Thanks very much. And that was Andrew O'Shaughnessy, former Limerick senior hurler, and myself talking about all things hurling.